Defense rules the early 1950s because coaches prize possession control over tempo, and half the league still struggles to shoot 40% from the floor. Crowds drop below 4,000 per night, so Commissioner Morris Epidoloff urges the competition committee to protect the paint and discourage cherry-picking. Against that backdrop, SU rookie Bob Pettit enters in 1954 and instantly pairs 2 4.6 points with 1 6.2 rebounds, signaling a prototype who can dominate both sides. The eye test carries authority because steals and blocks remain untracked, but teammates swear Pettit swats layups and chases guards with equal commitment. On the perimeter, Bill Sharman fires at 42%, the era's gold standard, and hounds ball handlers over the full 94 feet. Together, Pettit and Sharman hint at the modern Twowie star. They attack early in the shot clock, then recover to box out before the next trip. Journalists label their approach all-court basketball, a style that begins eroding the slow, bruising post-ups championed by bigger but less agile frontcourts. Defenses respond by packing the lane, which in turn prompts owners to brainstorm timing devices that would speed possessions and free the wings. In 1954, Syracuse owner Danny Biasone tests a 24-second timer after dividing the year's average shots by game length on a diner napkin. The clock's adoption bumps scoring to 93.1 points per team and opens the lane for Boston's rookie center Bill Russell to redefine defense. Bill Russell enters the league in 1956, immediately altering the balance of power with his speed, timing, and unmatched defensive instincts. By 1964, he averages 15.1 points, 22.5 rebounds, and shoots 56% from the field, not through volume, but efficiency and positioning. His value isn't captured in box scores alone. The league doesn't track blocks or steals during his career, but film and witnesses consistently credit him with altering or erasing entire possessions. He wins 5 MVPs between 1958 and 1965 and leads the Celtics to 11 titles in 13 seasons, the most in NBA history. Russell's impact begins on defense, but never ends there. He defends the rim, rebounds with purpose, and immediately ignites fast breaks through pinpoint outlet passes. Because he can track a shot, secure the board, and initiate the offense all in one motion, Boston runs a fluid transition system that overwhelms slower teams. His presence allows teammates like Bob Cousy and Sam Jones to gamble more aggressively, knowing Russell will clean up any breakdowns. He becomes the Celtics' insurance policy and offensive engine at once. The 20-per-second clock lifts scoring to 93.1 points and sets the conditions for Russell's rookie year. In the 1966-67 season, Wilt Chamberlain leads the Philadelphia 76ers to a 68-13 record while averaging 24.1 points, 24.2 rebounds, and 7.8 assists per game on 68.3% shooting. He becomes the first center in NBA history to lead his team in assists, often initiating fast breaks with over-the-head outlet passes and running the offense from the high post. His size 7'1", 275 pounds and stamina allow him to average over 45 minutes per game while switching matchups between Oscar Robertson and Bill Russell on consecutive nights. Chamberlain isn't just a scorer anymore. He's a system built to attack and defend without leaving the floor. The NBA does not track blocks until 1973, but multiple coaches and teammates estimate Chamberlain regularly records 8 or more per game, often redirecting shots without leaving his feet. He smothers the paint, plays passing lanes, and leads the league in defensive when shares a stat retroactively calculated multiple times. Opponents adjust by inventing new schemes, running more motion, spacing the floor, and even lobbying for goaltending rules to slow him down. Wilt's impact on both ends forces structural changes before analytics can even define what a two-way player is. The 1967 title, won in 6 games over Rick Barry's Warriors, cements his most complete season and the most balanced version of the NBA's most physically overwhelming player. The league's obsession with regulating Wilt's dominance from widening the lane, outlawing inbound dunks, mirrors its effort to preserve competitive balance. The 24-second clock lifts scoring to 93.1 points and sets the conditions for Russell's rookie year. Jerry West, a 6'3" guard drafted 2nd overall in 1960, finishes his career averaging 27 points per game across 932 regular season contests. At a time when defense rarely earns headlines, West earns 10 All-Defense selections after the league begins tracking the award in 1969. He combines relentless perimeter defense with elite scoring efficiency, shooting 47.4% in an era of far more contested mid-range attempts. Known for his obsessive preparation and stamina, West becomes one of the first guards to consistently play both ends at an all-NBA level across entire seasons. His nickname, Mr. Clutch, isn't a myth or marketing ploy. It's a reputation earned through repeated late-game heroics, including a 60-foot buzzer beater in the 1970 finals. But his most complete performance may come in Game 1 of the 1969 finals, where he scores 53 points against Boston's switching defense and still loses 120-118. That series cements both West's legacy and frustration. He becomes the only player ever to win Finals MVP on the losing team. His ability to both lead the league in scoring and hound opposing guards full court sets a precedent for the modern two-way backcourt. By proving that a franchise cornerstone can defend at a high level without sacrificing offensive firepower, West becomes the first to model what we now call a two-way superstar. The 1970s will soon see new faces carry that blueprint forward, starting with Milwaukee's top draft pick. In 1983, Sidney Moncrief becomes the first guard to win the NBA's Defensive Player of the Year award, while also averaging 22.5 points on 54% shooting. That same season, his Milwaukee Bucks finish with 51 wins and lead the entire league in defensive rating, giving up just 102.1 points per 100 possessions. Moncrief consistently draws the toughest perimeter assignment: Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Julius Erving, and still manages to produce elite offensive numbers in Don Nelson's motion-heavy system. He isn't just staying in front of scorers, he's hounding them off their rhythm, forcing contested shots, and denying touches altogether. Moncrief repeats as DPOY in 1984, joining the rare company of back-to-back defensive winners while maintaining top-tier offensive efficiency. He shoots over 50% for 5 straight seasons, posts double-digit win shares for times, and remains Milwaukee's emotional anchor during the early 80s. His ability to pressure the ball, recover on screens, and contest without fouling helps redefine what two-way guard play looks like in a league still focused on post play and rebounding. Michael Jordan, who faces Moncrief early in his career, later says that no one made him work harder for a basket. Moncrief's balanced dominance primes the NBA for a new generation of two-way perimeter stars, just as the league prepares for its most statistically dominant one. In 1988, Michael Jordan averages 35.0 points, 3.2 steals, and 1.6 blocks per game, becoming the first player in league history to win both MVP and Defensive Player of the Year in the same season. He leads the league in scoring and steals, a statistical combination unmatched by any guard before or since. Jordan not only finishes possessions, but also initiates stops. His 1.6 blocks per game outpace most power forwards and even some starting centers. At 6'6", he routinely guards all perimeter positions, switching onto point guards, wings, and even the occasional big man without giving up efficiency. His defensive assignments include Hall of Fame scorers like Dominique Wilkins, Clyde Drexler, and Joe Dumars, yet he holds them all well below their averages in head-to-head matchups. What separates Jordan from earlier two-way stars is his simultaneous dominance on both ends of the floor against elite competition. He doesn't just play both roles, he maximizes them within the same 48 minutes. The Bulls rise from 40 wins to 50 that season, driven largely by Jordan's activity on both ends and the trust head coach Doug Collins places in his two-way impact. Teammates describe him as relentless, with practices often more intense than games due to his defensive pressure. Even in all-star games, Jordan treats defensive possessions like the fourth quarter of a playoff series. The season ends with him sweeping MVP voting and earning first-team selections on both offense and defense. He changes the standard after 1988. True greatness demands both ends of the floor. The Bulls' growing momentum coincides with the arrival of Scottie Pippen, who takes pressure off Jordan defensively while carving out his own elite two-way identity. In 1994, Hakeem Olajuwon becomes the only player in NBA history to win both MVP and Defensive Player of the Year in the same season, posting averages of 27.3 points, 11.9 rebounds, and 3.7 blocks per game. His footwork on offense mimics guard play, pivoting through double teams, spinning baseline, and launching fallaways off either shoulder, while his defense anchors Houston's top 5 rated scheme. Across the playoffs, he leads the Rockets to their first title by sweeping Shaquille O'Neal's Magic in the finals, and along the way, outplays Patrick Ewing in 7 and dominates David Robinson in 6. Olajuwon's defensive impact goes far beyond rim protection. In 1989, he records 213 steals and 282 blocks, the only season ever with over 200 in both categories. His lateral speed and anticipation let him trap guards at the perimeter, yet he's still agile enough to recover and contest in the paint. He literally rewrites what's possible for a center. As the league shifts toward quicker offenses, Olajuwon's ability to play both ends at elite levels makes him the prototype for a modern two-way big. His title in '94 confirms that two-way centers can still win in a guard-heavy era, just in time for a rookie named Tim Duncan to take note. Scottie Pippen enters the NBA in 1987 as a lanky, 6'8" wing with a 7-foot wingspan and the ideal physical profile to guard nearly every position on the floor. Over the next 17 seasons, he transforms from a raw prospect into a defensive cornerstone, earning 10 all-defensive team selections and securing 6 NBA championships with the Bulls. His defensive assignments range from point guards like Mark Jackson to power forwards like Karl Malone, and he's often the one tasked with full-court pressure or switching mid-possession responsibilities, almost unheard of for wings at the time. Because of his agility and court vision, Phil Jackson entrusts him with initiating the triangle offense, especially in transition or against pressing defenses. In 1994, with Michael Jordan temporarily retired, Pippen's workload spikes and his stat line follows. He averages 22 points, 8.7 rebounds, and 5.6 assists per game, while playing nearly 39 minutes a night. Chicago still wins 55 games, and Pippen finishes third in MVP voting behind Hakeem Olajuwon and David Robinson. He leads the Bulls in points, rebounds, assists, and steals, showing that his skill set goes beyond complimentary stardom. Even without the league's biggest spotlight on him, Pippen proves he can carry both ends. His ability to fluidly switch on defense and orchestrate on offense becomes the prototype for the modern two-way wing. Pippen's success reshapes expectations for non-guards and non-centers players who now must impact both ends to be franchise cornerstones. The NBA enters an era where versatility becomes as important as raw scoring talent, and that transition leads straight to Gary Payton. In 1996, Gary Payton becomes the first and only point guard to win NBA Defensive Player of the Year. He averages 2.9 steals per game, posts 19.3 points, and hands out 7.5 assists, anchoring a Seattle defense that finishes second in defensive rating. His lateral speed and hand activity force turnovers and volume, but it's his anticipation how he reads plays before they happen that earns him the nickname, the Glove. Coaches regularly assign him to hound the opposing team's best scorer, from Penny Hardaway to John Stockton, and he rarely needs help. That season, Peyton's Sonics finished 64-18, the best record in franchise history, and reached the NBA Finals after dispatching Utah in 7 games. In the finals, he draws the toughest assignment in basketball, guarding Michael Jordan, who's returning from his first full post-retirement season. Though coach George Karl initially avoids the matchup, Peyton eventually insists, and when he takes the challenge in Game 4, he slows Jordan to 6 of 19 shooting. The Sonics win back-to-back games, but fall in 6. Still, Peyton's defensive impact reshapes the series' narrative. His unique two-way value, combining lockdown perimeter defense with reliable shot creation, defines the mid-90s Western Conference and sets a new standard for guard play. Seattle's 64-win breakthrough forces contenders to prioritize perimeter defense, just as the next generation of two-way stars prepares to dominate the post-Jordan era. Kobe Bryant wins the 2008 MVP by averaging 28.3 points, 6.3 rebounds, and 5.4 assists while leading the Lakers to 57 wins and an NBA Finals berth. But the hardware only reflects part of his two-way legacy. Over the course of 20 seasons, he makes 12 all-defensive teams tied for second most in league history while maintaining a career scoring average of 25 points per game. In 2003, arguably his most complete season, he records 30.0 points, 6.9 rebounds, and 2.2 steals per game on 45% shooting, logging heavy minutes against every team's primary scorer. Bryant embraces defensive matchups against top-tier guards Ray Allen, Tracy McGrady, Allen Iverson without asking for help or rest. His defensive footwork mirrors his offensive precision, often forcing elite shooters into contested, off-balance looks. He studies game film compulsively, patterns his off-ball movement after Michael Jordan, and absorbs defensive leadership cues from Tim Duncan during Team USA runs. His obsession with replicating greatness leads him to mirror the defensive mindset of his idols as much as their scoring habits. The result is a rare archetype, a franchise player who demands the toughest perimeter assignment while also shouldering a 30% usage rate on offense. Bryant's two-way intensity becomes foundational for the post-Shaq Lakers and defines the identity of their 2009 and 2010 title teams. His defensive motor never fully fades, even deep into his 30s. The Lakers' 2008 resurgence, built on a top-3 defense and Bryant's commitment to both ends, bridges directly into the next wave of two-way bigs beginning with the Spurs' silent anchor.
If you made it this far, you're one of the real ones. At B-Ball Decoded, we don't sugarcoat the past. We break it down, team by team, draft by draft, mistake by mistake. If you love deep NBA stories, critical breakdowns, and raw basketball truth, hit that like button, subscribe for more Team Deep Dives, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next.